Hello, good people. Thanks for joining me. My name is Anne, and on my channel, I review foreign international content. I like to say we travel around the world sitting on our couches. How fun is that? We have diversified what we watch. Do not let that 1-inch subtitle get in your way of enjoying foreign international content. It is just fantastic. We're learning food and culture and languages. Oh my word. I hope you have your passport. Let's go. Guys, thanks for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Anne, and oh my god. Queen Charlotte, the Bridgerton story finally dropped this weekend. Actually, I think it was Thursday, right? And I binge watch because, oh my God, you know, when Shonda Rhimes is around and she makes something, you know it's gonna be good. And based on the 2 seasons of Bridgerton that we've seen, has been fire. So it was nice that they did a spin-off of Queen Charlotte, and we get to find out more about her life and how she became queen, which I think we all know. Queen Charlotte was a real queen. Obviously, this story is fictitious. And King George, she was married to King George, which she is in this as well. But we know the story here is fictitious. But wow, first of all, let's just talk about the casting. I think they did such a fantastic job. The young Queen Charlotte and the older one, you totally see it like it's the same person. I was like, wow, this casting was fantastic. Even Lady Danbury, yeah, right? I mean, the casting from young to old, I was like, I see it. I can totally see it. Like, well done. But oh, what a fantastic. I loved it. I loved it all, from the costuming to the casting to the music. You know, the music, right? The modern music that Shonda would throw in there. It was just, oh, well done. And the storyline, oh, so touching. Talk about love to the nth degree, even through mental illness, which was really tough to watch because of the methods. Clearly, medicine has come a long way, because that was hard to watch. If it meant beating or torturing you is how we get you to stop. What? I was like, oh my God. Anyway, for anybody who doesn't know about Queen Charlotte, so obviously we know her from Bridgerton. We know that she's married to King George. We never get to see him that much. And from the Bridgerton story, we knew he had some sort of a mental something, but we never see him that much, and we just did not know what was going on. So in this story, obviously they tell us how they met. We see that she is from Germany, and her brother has to, she called it, sold me to England to be the queen. And clearly the brother had to do it because, you know, it's a case of how you protect, I guess, your monarchies, if you will. You know, the brother had to protect Germany. And so she, in those days, really marriages were meant for how do I advance myself, right? And clearly that's what she was. So it wasn't about love at all. And actually when she meets King George, which was interesting, she was trying to run. And the guy is like, she's like, help me, I want to jump off this wall. And he's like, I can't help you jump off the wall because you're running away from me. I'm the prince. And then she was like, oh, because before she had not heard much about him, and she's just thinking, oh my God, he must be like awful, like like really bad, a troll, I think she called him. And she's like, I am not staying here for that. And by the way, I love Brimsley, you know, who is her butler, who's always with her, walks with her, follows her. It was almost like, I know she was married to King George, but Brimsley was almost like I don't know, your best friend, second husband, if you will, because he went through it all with her. I mean, I think sometimes he even knew more about her struggles than even King George knew, because let's be honest, between King George struggling with mental illness, that, you know, there's times he was not there for her, and Brimsley was the one who was there. Which, by the way, I love the relationship between Brimsley and the King's man. Whew, fire, right? Which, by the way, you know, it's Bridgerton, it's Shonda. So if you have expected fire, and you know what I'm talking about, steamy episodes, for sure, she definitely delivers in Queen Charlotte as well. Hot, okay? So anyway, she meets King George, and let's just say initially they didn't know each other, but you could tell they kind of have a taking to each other. And from the first night where he was like, yeah, you're gonna stay here and I'm gonna stay over there, red flag, Why are we not together? We are married, we're supposed to consummate. And let's remember, in the kingdom, the most important thing is having heirs, which we saw actually in the opening scene. We see the older Queen Charlotte, who has like, I don't know, 15 kids, or how many kids did she have? And she's like, I need an heir, because the one, I think, was it a granddaughter she was gonna have, passed away. And now all her sons and daughters who have gotten older have not given her more heirs. And she's like, this kingdom lies on us having more people. And if it dies with you guys, I cannot allow that. Please, I need an heir. So they are under that pressure. And she's got the pressure of making sure her kids have this heirs so that the kingdom continues, right? The safety of the kingdom is always about the heirs to continue the bloodline, if you will. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting her relationship with her kids, and I kind of understood it. They were not that close, but she was always there. And I feel like she was so focused and taking care of King George that in a way she kind of neglected them, not because she meant to, between trying to keep the kingdom running and making sure her husband is protected. Wow. By the way, I loved how, as the relationship progresses and how they fall in love. What a love story. I'm not going to say much. I want you to watch for yourself, but what a fantastic love story. And the fact that, in a way, her love for him would help his symptoms. Obviously, clearly, he needed more. I don't know what that was. He seems to have anxiety, maybe some sort of, I think, bipolar or whatever, because he would see things. But it was interesting how, like, he would come to, like, when it was to Charlotte, like, he responded to her with their love. She knew how to help him calm down. And by the way, that king's man who took care of him too was, some of these people who are there to be your helpers, I think they're more than family. Like, he was like, especially when that doctor was going through all those methods, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. What? Even that, the king's man is like, look, I'm here for the king. Like, come on, you gotta stop this. At some point, he was like, I gotta save my king because these methods are just crazy. But what a fantastic story. The other story that I loved hearing was about Lady Danbury. By the way, the older Danbury guy, the prosthetics, oh my God, I was like, oh, they did him wrong. I saw the actor himself, the picture of him, and I was like, oh, wow, they really made him look like not attractive at all and made him look like selfish old man. Clearly he was, and never gave credit to Lady Danbury for what she was trying to do, up their status, if you will. He always took credit and just didn't realize she's the one who was working with the queen, right? The queen, her mother-in-law, who, by the way, there were some scenes I was like, okay, in the previous Bridgerton, when we've done Bridgerton, they never made race an issue, but in this series, they do make race an issue. Like when she walks in and they were like, oh, she's a little bit darker than we thought. And then she touches her skin like, oh, I wonder if it's gonna rub off. Meaning, is it makeup? And I'm like, nope, it is not makeup. It's melanin. It's not going anywhere, right? You could tell they were like, oh, that's not what we expected. But anyway, we need to save the monarchy, so it's gonna have to work. They called it the experiment, meaning like, oh, so we can maybe integrate and see if we can get along. Is that what the experiment was? I was like, weird. I love that Lady Danbury talking to the queen and becoming, friends, how they became friends, how she reminded her, like, remember, you're one of a kind. You're just not doing this for yourself. You're carrying all of us with you. Same thing with Lady Danbury when she got the title and the rest showed up and her husband died and they were like, okay, meaning if you lose it, we lose it. Like, what was at stake? It was very evident, like, look, you are the first, and that means unfortunately, you're carrying the whole race with you. What happens to you happens to us, so don't forget, that this is for the greater good of just not you, but all of us. So I thought that was interesting. And the relationship between Lady Danbury and Lord Ledger, which was interesting because we've watched Bridgerton. Obviously, Lady Danbury and Violet are very good friends, actually family, because Simon and Daphne got married, so that brought them together as a family. And to find out about Lady Danbury and Lord Ledger was Violet's father, it was interesting, like, oh, that was an interesting find. Like, oh, okay. By the way, I love the scene where Violet is like, oh yes, married to my husband. I've always thought about him. I've loved him. I've never felt like I had a need for another man. But I'm feeling things, you know. And the way they were describing it, like your garden. Oh, your garden's starting to bloom again? Is it blooming again? It's okay to take care of the garden. I'm like, we're calling it the garden. That was so like proper, hilarious. Anyway, just fantastic. Once again, it's Shonda. There's no disappointing. It's just fantastic. Absolutely loved it. The costuming, the music, the filmography, all of it, the production, all of it, just the amount of cast. I love the diverse cast. Like, for example, Queen Charlotte's children. I was like, wow. At first I was like, did she have an affair? Because you could look and it looked like United Nations. I'm like, wow, he almost looks completely white. She looks like she's mixed. I mean, it was just interesting to completely watch it. I love it. That's what Shonda is good for, like diversity to the core. But anyway, do yourself a favor. Give yourself some time because you know it's a binge. There's no way of just watching one episode. You find yourself, you want to see what happens next and what happens next and what happens next. And the way they wrapped it up, their love story. Their love story is incredible. Just fantastic. I love that they did that spin-off, and it was nice to learn about the other characters and just break down into them. Like Lady Danbury's story was so good to find out. Oh, that was just fantastic. Anyway, have you watched it? What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. As usual, if you love my video, give me a like, subscribe. I'm always grateful, and I'll see you next time. I'm currently reviewing Korean dramas, so if you love watching those, please join us. We're currently watching Dr. Cha. It's on Netflix. Just fantastic. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.